I'm Mark Callan, Mr. Saltwater Tank, coming to you on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com. Take a little time here to do some tank maintenance while Jimmy's building his tank. So if you missed it in the last episode, we rolled out my cameraman Jimmy, who's a newbie to the saltwater tank world. He's going to be building a saltwater tank. He's going to be asking me questions, and I'm mainly letting him drive the show. So these newbie questions that I tend to forget about because I've done this for so long, and you likely have as a viewer, he's going to get to go through them, and you can understand how the process works through a newbie's eye. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm actually going to go frack some stuff in my tank and turn it over to Jimmy.
Okay, so you met me on last week's show and found out that, hey, here I'm a newbie, brand new to this. This is going to be my first reef tank. And I've already decided where in my house I'm going to put it. I'm putting it here in my office. If you saw shots last week in my office, I haven't moved the artwork, but I did move the credenza that was here, put my couch there, took my desk off that wall, put it on this wall where I'm looking right now. And so I've rearranged, so now I have a blank wall ready for my new reef tank. And then the big question now is, what reef tank? So I'm going to need a little bit of help picking it out. I think I'm going to surprise Mark a little bit because when my wife came in here, we talked about the size, and she said, well, why don't you make it the same as your desk? My desk is 6 feet wide, so 72 inches. I'm like, I look them up online, I'm like, those are huge. It's a huge tank. But then I decided I have to be able to swing the door open, and that wasn't a big deal when my desk was there because I could move my desk a little bit. It's, you know, it's heavy on legs, but not that heavy. Saltwater aquarium, I'm not going to be able to move. So I got to pick one out. I'm going to see if I can get Mark to help me out with that. And so let's see if we can get a hold of Mark right now.
Jimmy.
Hey, what's going on?
Are you thoroughly overwhelmed right now, or are you feeling pretty good?
I have some questions, but I've made a lot of progress. I watched a lot of your older YouTube videos, especially the Mega Matrix series, because there you kind of laid things out step by step. I've moved furniture around in my office, so I'm ready to put my tank over there, and I've got it figured out. I got a little surprise for you about that.
What's the surprise?
Go big or go home.
You're adding on to your house so you can have a fish room.
Well, not quite that, but you know, I have a 75-gallon freshwater and I want something bigger and better. I'm doing a reef tank. So my wife and I measured it out. My desk was 72 inches. And when I measured it out on the wall, what I wanted over there, I decided that I needed 60 inches. To make it look nice over there. So that puts me at, like, I don't know, pretty big, right?
150, 180 gallons, depending on the other dimensions. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, like, as you've heard me say in my talks, in a couple months, the tank is going to seem that big. And I've said, you know, if you're going from one size tank to another, you want to make a leap enough that it's worthwhile. So you're used to a 75-gallon freshwater, but now you're going into salt. So, I mean, you can do it that way. You can certainly start smaller. I recommend you don't start less than 40, but if you want to start in the 150, 180 range, you know, we can roll with that.
So Mark, I looked on Facebook Marketplace and I saw like a huge used tank.
Got to pull my hand out of the tank because I got to stop Jimmy right there. Used tanks. They seem like a good idea because they appear cheap. Here's the thing about tanks and used tanks specifically. The last thing between all the water in your tank and the floor is the seams. These things right here. So if these fail, then everything in your tank lands on the floor. So with a used tank, it's not like a used car where you can look up a Carfax. There isn't a used tank Carfax. So you don't know what kind of condition it is, how old it is, how was it cared for. Yeah, you can look at it, but you really don't know what condition this thing is and how long it may last. It may last for a year, it may last for 5 months, it may last forever. Well, at some point it's going to fail. You get the point. And the idea is that you spend all this time building up this nice saltwater tank, you're having success with it, then the tank fails, it's not worth the risk of a used tank. So I'm not a used tank fan unless I know absolutely everything about the tank. For example, my best friend had it. I remember the day he bought it. I know he takes really good care of it. I know everything about the tank, but most of the time we don't have that kind of option, so I don't recommend risking it and going the used tank route.
I've looked on SaltwaterAquarium.com at some of the kind of packaged ones because I know that I want one with the cabinet and all the filtration kind of built in underneath. So something that looks really clean.
Some people start with an all-in-one tank. That's the filtration in the back chamber. You're wanting to go ahead and get a sump in the tank, which is nice because then you get an overflow and all the filtration is underneath. You wanted it clean, it keeps it underneath the tank, puts it away in the cabinet, so it makes for a cleaner type look. There's some plumbing required, but with a lot of these kind of pre-made kits, that plumbing is straightforward. So just letting you know, we could start with an all-in-one, but since you want to go bigger, now you want a sump. You're kind of jumping ahead in terms of where most people start. But that's okay. If you know you're into this and you're going all in, which I love, you're gonna want a sump if you didn't start with one. So if you have one now, awesome.
Okay, so can you help me pick out a tank?
Yeah. So you're thinking 5 feet. The next kind of question that we have to look at is putting a canopy on it or not. Some of the canopy options that come with tanks are okay, but they're not very tall. So you end up getting about a foot or so above the tank. So when you're trying to work in it, it's kind of like, you gotta like put your head in there if you can see and try to get an arm. Rimless tank is gonna give you an open top. It's gonna give you a cleaner look, which will fit with your office theme. And one thing that we have to do with that is it's open top. So if a fish jump, and some fish are prone to jumping, they got an easy way. It's like this big open portal that they can get out. And then you find a crispy fish, and your dog Sparky comes and chews on it and probably barfs somewhere on the carpet. Not good. So we want a rimless tank that comes with a lid, and the ProClear tanks do a really good job of making a nice clean reef ready. That's a tank with a sump setup, and they have pre-cut lids that are nice and clean looking to help preserve that clean look of a rimless tank.
Okay, I know the lid on my freshwater it's glass, and I get algae under there. It's cleaning it. I'm just gonna have to take better care of it.
Well, I think once you get the saltwater tank up and going, the freshwater tank's gonna kind of, it's done its time. It's been with you for 20 years. You're about to move into the big leagues.
But I just added some new fish so I could have a cool background like years before I get my saltwater up and running. Right. And some of them had babies this week.
That sounds like freshwater fish. You feed them and they make babies. But you know, probably around Christmas time, it'll be gone.
So I'll be putting my second tank where my current freshwater is? Is that what I hear you saying?
No, don't go there yet. No. Not upstairs. You're gonna keep it all together. Let's focus on this. Focus, yeah. Jimmy. Focus on what we're doing here. We got to get you a tank before you can think about the next tank. Like you're already thinking about the wedding before you've even asked the girl line, okay? We'll get the tank rolling. It'll ship directly from ProClear, and then they're going to deliver it. The freight company won't bring it into your house. They're going to put it, I don't want to say drop. I used to say drop it. Like, no, we don't use that around moving aquariums. They will place it in your garage. A lot of times you can talk them into putting it into your garage. Sometimes they're like, we're just going to put it in the driveway. And if you get a driver like that, if you slip them like 20, 40 bucks, usually they're like, roll it into your garage, whether it be friends or hire movers, to have them move the tank into your house.
Yeah, so it's pretty heavy, I take it.
I think the thing about tanks are they're only heavy once when you move them into your house. They're not heavy when you move them out because someone's buying it and it's their problem to move it out. You just get to sit there and watch.
All right.
Okay?
All right. That sounds great. I'm totally stoked to get this in here. Like I said, I already moved the furniture. I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go. You're just waiting on a tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be easy. I'll get it ordered tonight.